I don't know why that is flashing orange with a red dot. Well, I hope we're... It says we're live. Okay. Maybe the orange means I'm using the cheap edition. It wasn't orange the last time. Oh well. Okay, the chat is up. Oh, we don't want that. We want that. Well, look who's here. Oh, Kathy, you're gonna be. Oh, when I tell you where I was last night. Oh, out of everybody, you're the only one that's gonna know where I was. And I don't know why I'm fucking echoing. Jesus Christ. So granddaughter doing okay? Incision healing up now? Shitty goddamn cold ass day today. It rained most of the day here. And then dumbass me, I had the air conditioner on because the bedroom was hot last night and I fall asleep. 2:30 this morning, I thought I was sleeping in a goddamn meat locker in a processing plant. She's doing great. Wonderful, wonderful, great news. I like hearing that. Great news. You know, every day it's something. Every day it's something. I can't even start a show without a goddamn mic echoing. Usually I get an hour. Maybe that's because when I logged in tonight, usually my Prism Live is just a little black box. Tonight it's a black box with an orange box around it and a red dot. So I have no idea what the hell's going on. I don't know why I'm getting an echo. This mic doesn't have an echo built into it. Yeah, Ron's here. I guess it's time for some music. Let's play some music. No, come on. Back up. Jesus Christ. Broadcasting live from Studio One at WDWL TV. And for all of you that might want to visit, our stations are located on the corner of Grumpy Vulture Boulevard and Grumpy Old Man Road, which you will not find on Google anywhere. And Linda's here. Okay, how are you tonight? Oh boy, I'll tell you what. Oh, Kathy, you know where my buddy's father took us for dinner last night? Mama Santos. Oh my God, I have not had a pizza from there in 25 years. And I'll tell you what, it tasted just the way I remembered it. Oh man. And Murray Hill hasn't changed a bit. As a matter of fact, I walked over and the little cigarette store is still there. And the guy still sells clove cigarettes. When's the last time you heard of a clove cigarette? I remember back in the day when clove cigarettes, oh, everybody had to smoke clove cigarettes. Holy shit, they sandpapered your throat. Talk about something that was lung bleeders. Wow. I don't know how anybody could smoke them things on a regular basis. And the woman that is now running the kitchen at Mama Santos. It was either her mother or her grandmother. Would have to be her grandmother in 1961 when they opened. And she was saying they make their own sauce to grandma's recipe. They get their pepperoni shipped over from Italy. They don't buy local fucking pepperoni. They make their own Italian sausage. They make their own dough. Oh my God, that pizza was to die for. Oh yeah, the clove cigarettes. They smelled worse than marijuana. You could tell somebody smoking a clove cigarette from like 3 blocks away. Oh, they were nasty. But you know, it seemed like everybody was smoking them. It was one of them 70s things, you know, oh, clove cigarettes. I'll never forget the first time I tried one. Jesus Christ. I thought I inhaled the flame off my lighter. Oh, oh, God. I couldn't even finish it. But there were people that were smoking them things constantly. And then, as fast as they hit the market, they like disappeared. I guess everybody that smoked them, their throat was so bad they couldn't talk, so it was like, oh, get rid of them cigarettes. But they still carry them. I could not believe it. I walked in, look around. I was like, oh, I remember this back 25 years ago. And I says to him for the hell of it, I said, do you still carry clove cigarettes? He says, oh yeah, they sell. I don't know who's smoking them. Oh, clove gum. Oh, that was as nasty as the goddamn cigarettes. Oh, Jesus. But I'll tell you what, Kathy, the inside of Mama Santos is still the way I remember it 25 years ago. Like walking into a little Italian restaurant back in Italy. That was a treat. And I guess his father goes there, gets a pizza every Friday. I don't know where he lives, somewhere around Little Italy. Oh, I'll tell you, I remember when you could smoke. You know, when I worked at the title bureau, everybody goddamn smoked in there. You walk into that auto title bureau, you know, county office, and all you saw was a big cloud of smoke. Because all the big bosses smoked stogies, you know, they all walked around with their cigars. I remember you could smoke anywhere. I used to smoke in the grocery store while I shopped. I tell people that today, they're like, oh, you're full of shit. You could smoke anywhere back in the day. Office buildings, airplanes, hospitals, grocery stores. There were only a few you couldn't smoke, like clothing stores. They had a big sign, no smoking, because they didn't want the cigarette smoke on the clothing. But shit, I remember shopping at good old A&P, walking along, smoking away. There were ashtrays at the end of each aisle. People don't believe it. Like, there used to be ashtrays and cigarette lighters in cars, Those are gone. Oh, yeah. Yeah, right, Brian. Fucking doctor wouldn't say nothing. I remember, as a matter of fact, when I was working at Lakewood Hospital, we had a smoking area outside in the corner. And one of the doctors used to come out and join us. And I asked him one day, I said, "Do you preach to your patients?" He says, "Nope." He says, "That would, he says, how could I be a smoker and tell my patients not to smoke unless they had severe COPD or something?" He said, "No, I don't preach to them." But it was strange seeing a doctor come out, in his white coat, puffing away with all of us. Yep, smoking restaurants. There were very few places you couldn't smoke. And I'll tell you what, that Italian sausage, I finally found out what his name is, because we call him Joe. But when we walked into Mama Santo's, they were like, "Hey, Giuseppe's here." Everybody greeted him like he was the owner. That goddamn Italian sausage, oh, God, it was to die for. I told him, I says, the next time he makes it, I says, I want about 5 pounds of hot. But it was all between the sausage and he did get the rolls from Presti's. Matter of fact, he ordered them because they don't make them on a regular basis. He ordered the hoagie rolls. Oh my God! And the wine. As much as I hate wine, oh geez, I could have drank a gallon of it. Oh, yeah, to die for. Oh, man. I just told him, I says, I'm not allowed to be drinking with my medication. I said, just give me a taste. I had the taste, and I said, one more taste, please. And I was like, yeah, matter of fact, he told me he goes to 3 different orchards out in North Ridgeville and gets his grapes. He combines 3 different type of grapes to make his wine and presses it in his basement. He makes 100 gallons, 2 50-gallon barrels. In Ohio, you can make 100 gallons for personal use, and they don't inspect. If you make over 100 gallons, the state has to come in and stick their nose in your business. Gee, I was reading an article this morning about how many states have alligators. I was like, holy shit. There's some down in your area. Kathy, Linda. I'm trying to think where I think it was Texas. They said they have like over 1 million. I thought Florida had the biggest. They said no, Texas has the largest amount of alligators, and then Florida is second. But see, I guess in Texas, they're allowed to shoot so many of them. In Florida, no. That's why they crawl up in the yards and eat people's dogs. There was a story on the news the other day about a woman got bit by an alligator down in Florida. She was swimming in the pond behind her house and she didn't even know that goddamn thing was in there. Yeah, he was saying every now and then he cheats. And he'll make a special wine in a 25-gallon barrel. I don't know. He didn't go into detail. But he says he keeps that secret. Because anything over 100 gallons, the state has to stick their nose in it. I'm going to have to find out where he lives. He does live over in Little Italy somewhere. Yeah. But a 4.3 to them is like nothing, you know. They're like sitting in their lawn chairs with a martini, you know. Oh, gee. Oh, what was it, 4.3? Oh, okay. Almost shook the olive out of my glass. Yeah, 4.3 is nothing over there. Unless you're at the epicenter, but they don't, you know, 4.3 is like normal to them. If they don't have a 4.3, they're like, gee, I guess the earth ain't moving that much this year. Did they say exactly where the epicenter was? I just saw the blip, you know, the blip that goes by on the screen. Earthquake, California. Oh, okay. I'll tell you what, talk about a state that's doomed. Earthquakes, wildfires, landslides. You couldn't pay me, you couldn't give me a house out there. As much as it. And, you know, my cousin was born out there. Of course, she's over in Solana Beach, outside San Diego. Yeah, I'll have to flip the news on in the morning. I've been watching a different website. It's called This Is Monsters. And the guy that has the YouTube channel that narrates it, he does every episode or every series, he'll do like child killers, what is it, patricide, matricide, you know. He's got a theme for, and he narrates it himself. I like it. I'm getting hooked on it. It's called This Is Monsters. And the guy does a hell of a job narrating. You would think that he's a professional. for just, having, well, he's got two different YouTube channels. I can't remember what the other one is. But he does a hell of a job narrating, tells a good story, and he does his research too. He's well informed on every episode. So check him out sometime. This is Monsters. I don't care for his intro music, but hey, because it's a little loud. Pisses me off. 2 in the morning, the intro music's coming on. And like, almost as bad as the commercials. I don't know why they have to come in 3 times the normal volume. But at least, on my, when I'm watching the websites, I can delete the commercials. I can't delete the commercials on regular TV. I'll tell you what, I basically quit watching morning news. It's irritating as hell. The one station, I don't know if it's 3 or 5. Christ, they give the weather every 30 seconds. But, gee, it couldn't have changed that much. I know Cleveland weather, you wait 5 minutes, the weather will change. They come back from commercial. Oh, let's go to weather. Then they go to commercial, come back from commercial. Let's go to weather. And they're saying the same thing over and over and over. And it's always 4, 5, 6 commercials in a row. Jeez. Now I know why I don't watch local TV anymore. Well, I know the FCC at one time really got down on them. But if you're watching on YouTube, the commercials aren't regulated by the FCC. Holy shit. Goddamn flamethrower. Dan Monroe. I'll give him a lookup. If you watch nightly local TV after like 11 o'clock, the commercials do come on a little louder. But if you're like me, I'm watching This Is Monsters, and then an ad breaks in, it's always twice as loud as it. And then I'm turning volume up, volume down, volume up, volume down. Yeah, Linda, they're like non-existent. Christ, I remember back in the day when you were on CB, you always worried about goddamn FCC in the neighborhood. Yeah, good old Siskel and Ebert. Siskel, he what? He had a heart attack, I think, didn't he? Siskel had a heart attack, and what ailment did Ebert have? I was really shocked when Gene Siskel died. Something tells me it was a heart attack. Maybe not, but I know he wasn't sick. Like Ebert. God, Ebert hung on forever. Although in his later years, I really felt sorry for him. Siskel and Ebert were a good crew. They worked well with one another. And neither of them were TV personalities. They were both reporters for newspapers. I can't remember the story how they got put together. Yeah, Linda, the old FCC needs a real overhaul. Instead of Trump worried about what's going on all around the world trying to play emperor, he should concentrate on cleaning up some of the federal government offices like the FCC. And he needs to straighten out the FAA too. I saw a clip on CNN. It was an interview with the president or whatever of Brazil. And he made the comment, he says, Trump needs to remember he was elected president, not emperor. I was like, oh boy. I thought for sure, if you've been paying attention, anytime somebody says something against Trump, like, oh God, what the hell's the guy, The Late Show? I can't remember his name now. He pissed off Trump, and then next thing you know, his show got canceled. Oh, what the hell? Colbert. Yeah, Steve Colbert. He made the comment about Paramount, the parent company of the TV station. When Paramount, what was it, $2 million or $20 million, they settled that fucking lawsuit, and Colbert said that they gave in rather than fight in court. They gave in, and the next thing you know, his show got canceled. Which is amazing because the Late Show has been running for like ever. The Ed Sullivan Studio. Well, I didn't say I liked him. I just said he was really speaking out against Trump. And the next thing you know, gone. I'm trying to think of the guy that was before him. He was that English guy. I liked him. Ebert died of thyroid. Oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember. Yeah, because he lost his voice. He was using a computer towards the end. That's right. Oh God, who was that English guy that did the Late Show for? He used to have Betty White on like weekly. I loved it. He really loved Betty White. They'd bring her on, do some goofy skit, He kept her name on TV. He had her on at least once a month. And then he decided to quit. And then about 6 months after he quit, he regretted quitting, which it was stupid. I mean, yeah, he wanted to spend more time with his family and so on. I can't begrudge him that, but it's not like they put in that many hours. Craig Ferguson. I love Craig Ferguson. Oh my God. Maybe now that they fired Stephen Colbert, they can entice Ferguson to come back. Oh, he was forced out? I didn't know that. I thought because he never really said much. I don't know why they forced him out. I liked his show. That was one of them, after Leno retired, I quit watching The Tonight Show. I switched over to watching, although I would, after The Tonight Show, I would flip on The Late Show. I love Steve Ferguson. Or Craig, yeah, Steve. I got Colbert on the mind. What the hell did he do that they forced him out? Matter of fact, I wanted, what was the robot's name? I wanted the robot. Although they broke him, I don't know how many times. Jeff. Oh, really? The voice of the robot died? I didn't know that. I wanted Jeff though. I thought it would be neat, like over in the corner of my studio here. Because you know that thing probably ended up in a dumpster. Even though the studio paid a fortune for it. Either that or it's down in some sub-basement. Yeah. Everything's ratings today. Ratings. But to me, I thought he had a decent show. I really liked Craig. I mainly liked it because he had Betty White on every month. Although, see, to the younger generation, they really, Betty White, who the hell's Betty White, Because once the Golden Girls were done, they all kind of went to the wayside. But at least Ferguson, he would have Betty White on all the time. I think they said something like she did 99 shows or something like that. Because she was on, it seemed like, if not once a month, twice a month. But it's only old farts like me that tuned in like, oh boy, Betty White's going to be on tomorrow. And he had Robin Williams on a lot. Boy, I miss him too. Ah, poor Robin. There was a talent that no one they'll never have another Robin Williams. Even though some of the comedians have tried to copy him. When they made Robin Williams, they broke the mold there. And Robin Williams could play some straight parts in movies too. He played some serious parts. 1 Hour Photo, that was a strange one. And then he did one that really didn't get a lot of publicity, but I liked it. It was called Jacob the Liar. There were some of his movies that were like, Of course, they kept saying, they wanted to do a sequel to Mrs. Doubtfire. How could you do a sequel? In the end of the movie, he outed himself. There'd be no way you could do Mrs. Doubtfire 2. I remember when after his heart surgery, he was on David Letterman. And now, when David Letterman had his heart surgery, when he came back his first night, he had every doctor that and nurse that attended to him on the show. Robin Williams come on and he read off a list of all the Cleveland Clinic doctors and nurses that took care of him. Of all the hospitals, Robin Williams said, you come to the Cleveland Clinic. I'm trying to think. Letterman, I think he had a quintuple bypass. I think that's what they said, a quintuple. Although I didn't like Letterman after he grew that stupid fucking beard. He looked like Moses. Matter of fact, he was at some event recently. I saw a picture of him on the news. That stupid fucking beard. But all the late night people are, and I can't take the Tonight Show anymore. Although, like they said, they needed to bring it into the 22nd century. But after Leno retired, I think I watched like the first week, and I was like, I'm done. Another guy that kind of fell off the map is Paul Schaefer. After Letterman retired, Paul Schaefer was out of a job. Not that I really liked Paul Schaefer, but Gee, did you see the news clips of Ozzy's funeral? That was amazing. People lined the streets. You would have think that King Charles died, and everybody had bats. It was amazing seeing how many people had stuffed animal bats hanging around their neck. Of course, crazy Ozzy, when he bit the head off that bat, oh. I think that's all they remember Ozzy for. Although I remember Ozzy when he was at the 1996 Ozfest at the Akron Rubber Bowl. He was so high, he surpassed the Goodyear blimp. Oh, yeah. Did they ever knight him? Did the Queen ever knight Ozzy? I don't think so. He should have been knighted. He put England on the map. Although everybody knew where England was, but did they say what yet he died from? Because it surprised me. He was at that concert, even though he was sitting in that big chair. And then it was what? A week, 2 weeks later, he dies? I didn't know he was that sick. Although, your body can only stand so many drugs over the year. Today I had my meeting with the assistant head of pain management. I didn't win. I tried to get him to put my medication back where it was. Really? Maybe that's why they had him sitting down. But I really didn't think he was that sick. Yeah, I tried arguing my point with my pain, he was like, well, the government said. I said, well, the government should talk to the patient. So instead, I'm going to have 2 MRIs. One without contrast, one with. Because he seems to think there's something going on back in my spine. And then we're going to formulate a new pain management plan. Oh boy. You have to call tomorrow and schedule the MRI. Oh, really? He was strapped in there? Wow. I didn't think he was that ill. Of course, they weren't really publicizing much. Kind of his final farewell, huh? Well, Although, like he said when they asked about what he thought should be done after he passed away, and he said, "I don't want nobody mourning. I want it to be a big party, a real celebration." Well, they sent him off pretty well. I like that flower piece in the hearse, Ozzy. No, you're right. Sharon doesn't look too healthy, or so maybe that's why she. What was she on? The View or? Although I'm sure that basically she got off regular TV to take care of Ozzy. But yeah, when they showed that she was laying flowers at some memorial area they have over there, yeah, she didn't look too great. Although she's had health problems over the years too, so. Oh yeah, Linda, those two were made for one another. That was a match made in heaven, really. You can definitely say that. Those two were made for each other. Let's just hope that the grief doesn't really overtake her, because sometimes in situations like that, when your soulmate goes, you feel you don't really have anything to live for. Well, maybe Jack and Kelly can get her into a hospital or something. Yeah, she wasn't looking good at the funeral. She really wasn't. Although I don't know too many people at funerals that are like, oh boy. Although at my buddy's funeral, we all had to get up and say a little something. So with him, he played golf like three days a week, and he'd play 36 holes, and he had played 36 holes, and he'd come home and got himself a cup of coffee and sat down in the chair, and it was lights out. So his wife said, all of his good friends, can you get up and say something? So we all got up and we said something. When I got done, his wife went, I know what you're thinking. I was like, what? She goes, I know what you're thinking, say it. I says, okay. Thank God I don't play golf. She had a big smile on her face. She goes, I knew you were thinking that. But yeah, he couldn't wait till the weather broke around here. He loved Big Met, which is not that far from here. He would play Little Met Golf Course sometimes. but he loved Big Mint. And he would play 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 36 holes. Although I remember he went down one Sunday with some of his friends, and they played like 72 holes of golf. I was like, holy shit. But yeah, as soon as they opened the golf course, he was there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And he, like I say, rarely would he just do 18. He lived for golf. He really did. And it's interesting, neither of his kids were interested in golf at all. Although, if I had to clean Dad's golf clubs 3 times a week, I wouldn't be interested either. You know, that's another interesting thing. I hate saying it, but you really can't trust doctors. Now, he had his annual physical in April. And for somebody 74 years old, he came through with, like his doctor said, hey, you come through with flying colors. Now, his blood pressure did fluctuate a little bit, but it was nothing where he had to take a lot of drugs. He took a baby aspirin every day. But otherwise, the doctor said, oh, you're healthy. Especially when he told his doctor, you know, I play golf 3 times a week. His doctor said, well, golf is good exercise. Yeah, he comes home from playing golf and lights out. Yeah, he sat down in his lazy boy recliner. He put the cup on the table. Him and his wife had his and hers recliners. He put the cup down on the table and laid back, went to turn on the TV set. That was it. Although, good thing it was quick. He would not have been one to lay around in a hospital on a machine or anything. But, you know, here's a doctor going, oh, you passed all your tests. Evidently, they didn't look at his heart very close. Although we haven't got the coroner's report. But I tend to think something like that is either a massive stroke or a massive heart attack. I mean, it just goes to prove one thing. When your number's up, your number's up. You know, you can be as healthy as can be, or you can be an asshole like me. And when the man upstairs says it's your time, it's not like you're going to go, give me 5 more minutes, you know. I hope after that, I don't understand. Well, in a way, I understand. Do one MRI without contrast, and then turn right around and do a second MRI with. it don't make sense to me. Do one with contrast and be done with it. Goddamn noisy ass machines. Jesus. I'll never forget the first time I had an MRI. I told everybody, they were like, oh, what's it like? I said, well, it's like being inside of a giant garbage can and somebody's beating on it with a sledgehammer. And you would think, with modern technology, the machines would get quieter, but they're not. Yeah, Kathy, that's why I'm saying they're going to have to keep a real close eye on Sharon. Because she might say, well, Ozzy's gone, I want to join him, you know. But I've heard that story many times. I know, like my grandmother, you know, after my grandfather died, she let herself go. She was diabetic. And it got to be the point she went from type 2 to type 1. And she got kind of neglectful. She got a blister on her foot. She didn't say nothing about it. It got infected. And by the time she said something, it was too late, so they had to amputate. And then she got a prosthetic, and she no sooner got the prosthetic and was ambling around, and she got a blister on the other foot and didn't say nothing. So she ended up losing that leg. And then the one thing, now she was a diabetic for years, but not serious. And any people she knew that were diabetics, they ended up, you know, losing their eyesight. And that was her big worry. She didn't mind losing both legs. Well, she ended up in a nursing home, which didn't bother her. She kind of liked the people, but she started to go blind, and when she lost her eyesight, she fucking gave up. Well, then I don't care. You know, it don't bother me. They're going to do them both, one after another. I just don't like the idea of a fucking needle, but I've had more MRIs than I can count. I've had more CT scans. Shit. X-ray. It don't even bother me. Like I say, they're going to do them both at the same time. One right after another. So, hey, it's not like I'm doing anything. I'm just laying there. Breathe. Don't breathe. Take a deep breath. Okay, breathe. Thank you. Laying there and the machine turning fucking blue. Oh, I forgot. Breathe. Thanks. Yeah, the last CT scan I had. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Okay, breathe. Thank you. Matter of fact, I don't even wear the headphones. The noise don't bother me. And now you can have headphones with or without music. Whoa. Yeah, the last time I had an MRI, the guy goes, "Would you like headphones?" Well, not really. He said, "Well, you can have them with or without music." I don't need the headphones. Yeah, you can get plain headphones, or you can get headphones that play music. I I get well, it's a CT. I get a CT scan twice a year. My oncologist orders it. Matter of fact, I got to make an appointment for that too. The 13th, I got an appointment with him. Jesus. Maybe I can schedule them all the same day. Get a CT scan, then go over and get the MRI and kill everything in one day. Because on the 12th, I have to go get blood work done so that when I come in to see the oncologist, I have my blood work and my CT scan for him. My little Chinese, he'll walk in the door and go, "You're smoking." "How do you know? Did you look in my car? I tried to hide the cigarettes, Doc." Then he gives me a lecture. I want you to cut down to 5 a day. First time he said that, I said, "What?" "Yeah, I want you to do 5 a day." I says, "How about 10? 5. 10. 5. We went back and forth for about 15 minutes. 10, 5, 10, 5. His nurse probably thought we were betting, playing rock, paper, scissors or something. I says, "I don't think so." He said, "Well, try it." I tried it. It didn't last a day. So I'll catch hell. I'm ready for the lecture. But the MRI, I got to get done, like, right away. And then we'll formulate a new pain management plan. Oh boy, I can hardly wait. If he says surgery, I'm going to be like, "I'm out of here. See ya." Although, I could guarantee I've probably got twice the damn collapsed disc than I had a year ago. Because my back does feel a little strange, but we'll see what it. Hey, like I say, I don't do MRI. Don't bother me. It's just I hate that. Not everybody gets it, but when I have an MRI with contrast, I get this metallic taste in the back of my throat for about 3-4 days. Oh, God, I hate it. Now, my buddy's wife, she had an MRI with contrast, and she went, "I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't hit it." But some people, I guess, do, and some people don't. But for like 3-4 days, I get this. It's like when you open a can of pop and you take that first couple of drinks. To me, pop always has a metallic taste to it if you get it in a can. That's why I stick with either 2 liters or glass bottles. Although you can hardly find glass bottles of anything anymore except beer. And even those are getting scarce. Heineken seems to be one of the few beers that's still hanging on to green glass bottles. Although I do notice if I have a Heineken in a can, I can taste the difference. The beer ain't the same. And I'm a Heineken aficionado. God, back in the day, Jesus Christ. I spent so much on goddamn beer, I think I owned stock in Heinekens. I used to have a quarter keg in the refrigerator out in the garage with a tap through the door. Come home from work, grab my beer mug. Those were the good old days. And then the damn place where I used to get my pony kegs moved over on the east side. I was like, oh, jeez. Now, see, Linda, my doctor never said that. I don't know why, because I always complain. He never told me drink a lot of water. I guess I'll do that this time. Because, man, I'll tell you what, when you eat and you have that, food don't even taste good. But like I say, some people, they don't. Like I say, my buddy's wife, she was like, what are you talking about? I don't have no strange taste. I guess it's your metabolism. But after this one, I will. I'll drink a shitload of water. I'll be living in the bathroom, but... And you know, Linda, between when I was with the clinic and now being with Metro, none of my doctors ever said that. I don't know why. Because I used to bitch about it all the time. I'd be like, God damn, I don't want contrast. I said, I'll have that metallic taste in the back of my throat for 3-4 days. Oh, see, I've never had dye, so... Although you got completely different ailments than me, so yeah, I could see why they would run a dye. But it surprises me between 2 different hospitals. Because, you know, Lakewood was under care and control of the clinic. And then after I, got out of Lakewood Hospital and had to get new hospitalization when I got with Metro, none doctors never told me that. And when they would say you're going to get an MRI with contrast, I would bitch. I'd be like, oh, God. Nobody, not even the nurses. God, if somebody had told me, I'd have done it. I'd have stopped and got a case of bottled water. See, that's why I'm glad you're here, Lindy. You give me that secret insider medical advice. Although I tell you what, it shocked me today. I walked in, and the girl said, "Get on the scale." And then she come in and took my vitals. And I was like, holy shit, they haven't done this in ages. She looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. I told her, I said, they don't do them anymore. Although I lost 10 pounds, actually 10.5 pounds. The salads are working. Yeah, I looked at that scale and went, whoa. She says, what's wrong? I said, oh, I lost weight. Of course, see, they haven't weighed me in probably a year, so they have no idea. But I've got a digital scale in the bathroom. Matter of fact, I just put new batteries in it the other day. Because I step on it once a week. And it was pretty close. The scale at the doctor's office said 10.5 pounds. My scale here said 10. So my cheap ass digital scale is pretty damn good. I'd like to do 10 more. Anything over 200 pounds, I don't feel comfortable. I would like to do 20. See if I could do 20 pounds by the end of summer. Take me down right to the 200 point. Because I don't feel comfortable when I'm over 200 pounds. I really don't. Although then I catch hell from my primary care doctor, you know. Oh, you should be 210 to 230, you know. No. Believe me, I've been close to 300 at one time. Everybody just dropped their jaw. Yeah. I was I think the highest I got was 292. I was really close to 300 pounds. 46-inch waist. I saved one pair of pants. Every now and then I step into them and go, holy shit. Yeah, I was 292.5 pounds at my highest weight. Most of that was from the beer, I think. Because I was cranking the beer pretty heavy. I have a picture somewhere. I'll have to find it. I got shit all over the place. I'll have to dig for it one day. I have a rough idea where it might be. Yeah, good old Grumpy at 292 pounds. Ron, aren't you glad you lost weight though? Isn't it miserable being that heavy? I was miserable, I really was. Not to mention it's hard to find clothes. And at that time my son was young. So, try chasing a toddler around. Get fucking winded. Good old chemo. I dropped 150 pounds after, well, I had multiple chemo sessions, but yeah, I dropped 150 some pounds of. And then my doctor bitched at me. I was too thin. I was like, gee, I feel real comfortable. I can like walk around the block, get in and out of my car without getting winded. I don't have the steering wheel up against my stomach. I see big people all the time that have got to be over 300, 350, maybe close to 400. I don't know how the hell I was miserable. When you're up to 300 pounds and over, you can't do shit. You can't bend over. You got to have somebody tie your fucking shoes. God forbid you drop something. You get winded so easy. I hated it. And I attribute it to the goddamn beer because when Timmy's father was alive, it was every night. We'd both come home from work, have dinner, either go out on his back deck or come over on my front porch and just drink until like fucking midnight every single night. Matter of fact, I'd come home from work and Jack would be standing in the driveway with 2 beers. I was like, all right, I'll have a quick one, I'll eat dinner, and I'll meet you out on the deck. And every night, just pounding them one after another. And you don't realize it, It creeps up on you slow. You got a 30-inch waist, then a 32, then a 34, then a 36, then 38, 40, 42, 44, 46. Yeah, I topped out at a 46 waist. I'll have to dig the pants out one day. I've got to put away. I saved 1 pair. Every now and then I stepped into them like, whoa. And I look at them pants and go, I can't believe I was that goddamn fat. But as the weight creeps up on you, you slowly adjust. But man, it's hard on you. Mainly like my knees. Like Jack, he ended up having to have knee replacement and a hip replacement. Although Jack stayed pretty heavy up until the day he died. Jack was probably pushing 280 when he died. But after he retired, he just sat around and did nothing. Then he started to develop heart problems. Because I saw him the last ambulance ride. I just happened to be coming home from the store and I saw EMS out front of the house. They brought him out on a goddamn stretcher and oxygen tank on him. He looked up at me, I'll see you in about a week. Yeah, I saw him in about a week, all right, in a casket. He wouldn't listen to anybody, though. I kept telling him, Jack, you gotta lose some weight. You gotta get out, get active. He would just sit around. Timmy would come home from lunch every day. And even Timmy would, his son, he'd be yelling at him, Dad, you gotta get out and move around. But, the old saying, you can lead the horse to water, but maybe because everybody was bitching at him, he was just ignoring everybody like, yeah, I'll do what I want. Matter of fact, he had both knees replaced, that's right. He had both knees replaced and he had one hip done. And the doctors kept telling him, Jack, you gotta lose weight. He was like, yeah. I remember when they did the first knee, oh man, he was in misery. Because when you're that heavy, and they get you up like the next day. On, start walking. And then he did the therapy in the hospital, and then when he got home, he just sat around. Then the other knee gave out. He had that one done. Did the same thing, did the therapy in the hospital. Then he needed a hip. And same thing, did the therapy in the hospital, come home, sat around. You just couldn't convince Jack that he had to get up and keep moving. You can't just sit. I think it's coming up on a year. I'll have to check. I think it's coming up on a year that he's gone. All my old neighbors are all gone. I'm the last one. The one I really miss was Julie, my smoking buddy. Goddamn COVID got her. And the strange thing was, she was a lunch lady at high school. And she had both shots, the main one and the booster. And still ended up getting a goddamn COVID. Yeah, first Greg went. Greg lived across the street from me. He had cancer. I can't remember what variety. That really pissed me off. He was going to teach me to fly. Because he was part owner of a, oh, what the hell was that plane? He took me up in it once. A Citabria. I think it was a Citabria Bonanza. I know it was a Citabria. Oddball name. Because he had just gotten his flight instructor license, and he says, you can go in with me and my buddy. We'll go three ways on the plane. I'll teach you to fly, and you can fly it whenever you want. And then he got cancer and he couldn't fly. The doctor said, no, no more. And one day his wife called me and she said, you'll never guess what. I said, don't tell me. First it was Greg. Then it was Eileen, Jack's wife. And then Lula, Greg's wife. Then Jack. And then Julie. All the old neighbors gone. I'm the only frickin' one left. The only good thing is, Timmy's got his childhood home and I can stop down and yak with him. I think he's still in the hospital. I haven't heard from him. Goddamn pneumonia must have really kicked his ass. I'll have to text him in the morning. I was going to text him the other day. I was like, I don't want to bother him. But his car's parked back in the driveway, so I know he's not working. He must not be home yet. Although he could be home convalescing. Maybe after dinner I'll shoot him a text message and see how he's doing. Yeah, I give the pain management doctor hell today. I said, it's bad enough you're killing me with my medication, cutting it back. I says, I can't eat any of my favorite stuff anymore. He says, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm not allowed to eat anything with poppy seed in it. And I said, during the summer, I like poppy seed dressing. He said, oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, poppy seed will give you a strange UA. Yeah, now he's really killing me. It was bad enough I doing the goddamn fentanyl patches one every 48 hours. Cut me back to 72 or 75 from 100 micrograms. Now he's stretching it out to 3 days. I said, what? He says, yeah, we gotta get you back down. He said, we'll work it out with maybe some pills. He didn't tell me what kind of pills. So now I'm really gonna be miserable. Doing a patch every 72 hours instead of 48. Jesus Christ. I said, you couldn't wait till winter to do all this shit when I'm stuck in the house. I said, now you're really fucking up my summer. He just looked at me and said, well, the government says. be interesting to see what kind of pills he comes up with. Because I already told him, no surgeries, none. Don't talk about no fucking implants. I don't want to hear it. So we're taking that off the table right now. So it'll be real interesting to see what kind of pills he supplements me with. More fucking pills. Jesus Christ. Hang on a minute, I gotta turn this fan down. I gotta take it down a notch. Kind of freezing now. Come on. This goddamn floor mat's got the old ridges in it from the chair. I want to move the chair up and the wheels keep going back in the holes. I dug out. I'm going to put some more signs right here. I dug them out today when I come home from the doctor. So we're going to be able to put 2, 4, 6 more. And I'm still trying to figure out how I can move this stuff around to put some more signs up. Because I really don't want to take them down. Because I had to take the move the S and H and the Sinclair down a little bit so I can get my. This one's got the NBC logo. I got one with Fox, and then I got one with MSNBC. I'm going to trade them off back and forth on the Passat. I'll really drive the police crazy. They'll be like, gee, last week it was NBC, today it's Fox. Doesn't he know what the hell news station he works for? But the guy did a nice job. So all I did was I asked him, could you put an NBC logo in, or could you put a Fox logo in? He said, whatever you want. I can do it. $20. They look like real license plates. If I had a sticker right here, I could probably get away with it. Because that's where we put the year sticker, right there in that lower corner. If I could come up with some way to put some kind of, even if it was just gold, because that's what month mine is, gold. Put a gold sticker in the corner. Drive around with that in the car, then get arrested. Oh, fictitious plates, Grumpy. We're going to tow it. Oh, no, please. I think the chat froze. Either that or everybody's doing something. I haven't seen the chat move in ages. That's all right. Everybody's doing something. Don't stop for me. Ron's probably making dinner. Although when I was at the grocery store, I saw some really nice turkey breast. Nice big. I'll get my small cooker out. It's amazing over the years, when you have a family, you have a big roaster, and then it gets smaller and smaller, and now I got a roaster that is about this big. Be just big enough to put a turkey breast in. Although, I really have a taste for meatloaf. I haven't had a good meatloaf in ages. Although it's getting very hard to find meatloaf mix anymore. You can get it in the pack with the ground beef and the veal and the pork. I guess people don't eat meatloaf anymore. Take and make me a meatloaf, put some hard-boiled eggs in the center, and some bacon strips on the top. Nothing more enjoyable than having a cold meatloaf sandwich. Oh. Cold meatloaf sandwich with some Hellmann's, some lettuce, and some good rye bread. I guess I'm going to have to go up to the butcher shop and pay the exorbitant prices and have him give me some meatloaf mix. I remember you go in the grocery store, there'd always be meatloaf mix. And liver. Try finding liver, right? I like going up to the butcher shop because they bring out that big chunk of liver and then they slice it for you. How you want it, thick or thin? I want it on the thin side. People look at that in the meat case and they're like, ugh. Yeah, the butcher shop up the street from me, they're still nothing prepackaged. You want liver? They bring out a big. There you go. Make some liver and onions and bacon. Oh. Now see, I do it casserole style. Everybody's like, what? I saute a big pan of onions, and you put a layer of onions, liver, and bacon. Then more onions, more liver, more bacon, and you stack it. You put it in a roaster and put it in the oven. You tell people that and they're like, oh, yuck. Oh, yummy. Oh, my lava lamp is really lava-ing. Oh, wow, look at the lava balls up in the top. Here we go, we're going to launch another lava. Here we go, slowly. Up you go, up you go, up you go. Bonk. All right, go up in the top. Knock that one out of the top. Come on, knock the one out of the top. Come on. Come on. There's one stuck at the top. You don't want to come down. It's stuck. Uh-oh. Oh, I just did what I didn't know. I shouldn't be shaking it. Come on. Come on. There it goes. Now all the little ones are falling down like a snow globe. I don't know, one always stays stuck at the top. I don't know why. Oh, it's coming down. We're going to have a lava collision here. Blop. Oh, there it goes. Oh, good. Everything congealed again. Man, my green one, when I knocked it over and it looked like a snow globe, they would never congeal again. I could sit and watch that stupid thing for hours. I used to have the one in the bedroom. I gotta bring it out and trade it. Because it's brown and orange and it looks like lava. I used to have it next to the TV. I'd be watching TV, watching the lava lamp, watching TV, watching the lava lamp. Yeah, I'll have to trade them. I'll put this one back in the bedroom, and then I'll bring the brown and orange one out. Although I did find it, I found a site on eBay that sells lava lamps. They're a little expensive though. I didn't get a chance to go through the whole site. I'm looking for another green one. If they have the green one, I'm going to buy it. I don't care how expensive it is. Replace the one I screwed up. Yeah, now see, I shipped that, but everything congealed. In the green one, it looked like a snow globe. No matter what, how long, God, I had the thing on for like a week straight. It would never congeal again. And the guy has replacement bulbs. Like $3 a piece. I'm going to have to order some because they're getting hard to find. Oh, you say that today, lava lamp, and the kids are like, what? What's a lava lamp? You try to explain to them, and go, nah, never mind. God, I remember back in the day when they were popular, people had one in every room of the house. I remember my buddy's wife, she even had one in the kitchen. I was like, gee, do you need one in the kitchen? She goes, well, I got one in every room. Matter of fact, they in the living room, they had one on either side of the TV set. Her lava lamps and her tie-dye shirts. Boy, there's a fad that went out just as fast as it came in. Tie-dye. God, I remember back in the day with tie-dye shit. Jesus. Everybody was wearing a tie-dye. People were doing them at home. You used to be able to buy it. Yeah, I have not seen it. RIT, R-I-T. It was RIT clothing dye. And the stores used to have every color. And now you can't find clothing dye anywhere. I guess they didn't want that shit going down the sewers. Where do you find tie-dye, Kathy? You buying it off some old antique website off of eBay? I haven't seen tie-dye stuff in years. grit is getting like impossible to find. I remember every store. You go into a grocery store, there was a big fucking display. Every color in the rainbow. Matter of fact, when I was at Save-A-Lot, I asked the assistant manager, I said, you guys carry clothing dye? He was like, what? I said, never mind. You have 5? Holy shit. Talk about a hippie that hasn't given up the hippie day yet. Oh, Walmart has kits? Really? Holy shit. I didn't think anybody did their own tie-dye. I'll be damned. Lots of tie-dye down there, huh? I guess I'll have to ask my buddy's wife to look. She goes to Walmart like 3 times a week. Oh, God. Everything causes cancer, Linda. Remember back in the day, tomatoes. Tomatoes cause cancer. Then like a month later, it was carrots, you know. Then a month after that, it was broccoli. Christ, back in the day, everything. It was like every month something new. Well, I'll have to ask my buddy's wife to check it out for me. Because she goes to Walmart 3 times a week. Even if she don't need nothing, she goes, oh, I just want to look around. Okay. Yeah, she goes to Walmart 3 times a week. She goes to Myers once a week. She goes to Giant Eagle once a week. Every day of the week she goes in some store. She can't sit home. She gets up at goddamn 5 in the morning. I thought, Jesus. 5 in the morning, I'm just falling asleep. She gets up at 5 o'clock. By 7 o'clock, she's out the door on the way to the store. I haven't been in Walmart probably in 5 years. Easy. Although the Walmart that's close to, well, there's 2 of them that are close to me. There's one on Brook Park Road, and there's one down at Steelyard Commons. The one at Steelyard Commons is a junk. It's so bad at Steelyard Commons that if somebody doesn't get carjacked at least once a day, the carjackers are taking a time off. Not to mention it's like in the, well, it's an old steel yard. As a matter of fact, the road that comes in, they have pieces of machinery. The old steel presses and this, and then you come in, they have a big, like, gate, Steelyard Commons. But they don't take care of the machinery. It's all rusty. Driving down there is like driving into an old scrapyard. And the place has probably been open 20 years. And they still have empty stores. Goes to show you the draw to get people into Steelyard. My son used to go weekly. He loved going to Walmart. Although I miss the fresh bakery, because he always would come home with fresh Italian bread, and then whatever was on the bargain rack. Although I'll tell you what, he was a real frugal shopper. He would price check everything. He'd come home and he goes, look, I saved 3 cents on this ketchup. Well, I'm not eating that ketchup. It's not Heinz. See, it's been so long since I went into Walmart, I didn't even know they had a craft section. Although my buddy's wife, I'm sure she knows exactly where it is. Yeah, she goes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to Walmart, Tuesday to Myers, Thursday to Gigantic Eaglet. I can't remember where she goes on Saturday. The only day she don't go out is Sunday. Get up at 5 o'clock, leave at 7. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're fucking retired. You had to get up at 5 o'clock when you were working. She retired at 65 and still gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Of course, her and her husband go to bed like at 9:30. I said, 9:30? Jesus. I'm just getting started watching TV at 9:30. You know, we don't have a Hobby Lobby around here. We've got, I can't remember the name of the place. Come on, Kathy, help me out. What's the craft store up here? I can't think of the name of it. Michaels! Thank you. I knew you'd save me. Yeah, Michaels is at Ridge Park Square, and I hate that place because it's right at the 480 exit. And no matter what time of day you go, there's so much goddamn traffic. And there's no easy way to get in and out. I hate Ridge Park Square. God, there used to be a craft store just up the street. I can't even remember what it was anymore. And the guy sold out to Michaels and they closed it. Because it wasn't up to date. So they moved it out to Ridge Park Square, and I hate Ridge Park Square. That's what everybody says, Michaels is so fucking expensive. I've never been in it. I refuse to go out to Ridge Park Square. Absolutely refuse. Thank you, Kathy. Packetans. Used to be right up the street, 5 minutes away. I love that store. Matter of fact, when they closed it up and they were selling everything like 90% off, holy shit. I went in and I bought a goddamn big box full of shit. They were selling like Sharpies for a nickel. Every color. Man, did I buy Sharpies. The regular ones were a nickel. The big Sharpies were a dime. I come up with a big box of shit. Oh my God. Picture frames were like 10 cents. Notebooks, composition books. Even if I didn't need brushes, oh my God. Goddamn brushes were like, now this brush would have sold for 25 bucks. I got it for $2. Everything was just, I got a box full of brushes. Whatever size they were, I was just grabbing them and throwing them in a box. Yeah, it was sad when that place closed. And the one girl was like, oh, everybody here is so depressed. I says, I know what you're talking about because the place before Pat Catan's used to be Tasty Catering. And it was my part-time job in high school. I used to work in a cooler at 38 degrees packing school lunch orders. So I says, I know this place better than you do. Because I used to love to come in on Sunday afternoon when I wasn't working because they baked cream puffs on Sunday. I used to steal a dozen. I never had to worry about sandwich, and oh, I'll tell you what, they had the best Polish sausage on earth. I don't know where they ever got it from, but oh. But you know, part of the problem is, Linda, a lot of people don't do crafts anymore. I remember my aunt used to, oh, what the hell's that? You put the cloth in there's like, she had 2 round rings, and then the cloth would be in the center, and she would do some kind of stitching, and she made pillows and stuff. You don't see people doing that anymore. Same thing with sewing. God, back in the day, everybody sewed. I can't even find anybody that has a sewing machine. God, there used to be places you could get alterations done. Not anymore. But you know, like back in high school, every girl made, you know, they'd be in home ec, they'd be making their own dresses. You'd have to buy a pattern and material, that was your project. And then it seemed like every girl made their own clothes. Then like Joanne Fabrics, we used to have Joanne Fabrics everywhere. They're all gone. I wanted to get some fabric because I wanted to cover my speaker grills for my Mach 1 speakers. You can't find a fabric shop anywhere. Pat Catan's had fabric. I don't know if Michael's does, but it's probably so outrageously overpriced. But yeah, I wanted to redo the front of my speaker grills. Not that there's anything wrong with them, I just wanted to change the look. Christ, I remember back in the day I had a hassock, and I didn't like the covering. So I went to Pat Catan's and I bought fabric and I recovered it. They don't reupholster anything anymore. You just throw it out. I remember back in the day, people would reupholster furniture. You go over to somebody's house and go, oh, you bought a new couch. Oh, no, I had it recovered. Not today. Now I'm really showing my age. Christ, we used to have upholstery shops for cars. If you didn't like the upholstery in your car, you took it to a shop and they reupholstered your seats. I remember there were like 5 or 6 convertible top places. Now if you fuck up your convertible top, you're screwed. Yeah, but Linda, that's a lost art today. Like I say, back in the day, I remember everywhere I went, all of my friends' houses, there were sewing machines. I don't even know where you could buy a sewing machine today. God, I remember when I was in my teens, there were like 7, 8 sewing machine shops around. And typewriter stores. Really? Keep the prisoners busy. Wow. Well, that's cool. One of these days, I'm going to bring my typewriter out. I have a Royal, I think it's called a Cadet. It's a little one. I bought a ribbon for it at Staples last year. Every now and then, for the fun of it, I bring out my typewriter. Oh, Jesus Christ. Vacuum cleaner repair shops. There was one like on every block around here. I remember back in the day, I never bought a new vacuum cleaner. I go to a vacuum cleaner repair shop and buy a used one that they rebuilt. Yeah, we had one that hung on forever, and then the guy said, I can't afford to keep the place open. I would say from 117th and Lorraine down to Cam's Corners, there had to be at least 10 vacuum cleaner shops. Because there was one right across the street from the Variety Theater. That's where I bought most of my used vacuum cleaners. And he hung on for as long as he could. And then he told me, he says, you know what, I can't even pay the rent anymore. And he ended up closing. Yeah, Kathy, Linda, every house I went to, there was a sewing machine. God, my grandmother had an old foot-powered singer. I used to love to watch her sew. She'd be out in the kitchen, both feet on the big pedal. I used to sit in amazement. I was, probably 5, 6, 7 years old. I'd be sitting at the table watching her. Pumping away. She had that goddamn sewing machine until she passed away. Of course, it weighed as much as a goddamn dump truck. Jesus. Talk about something that was built to last. Because it folded out. Because she used it like an end table. She had a lamp on it. Then when she'd go to sew, take the lamp off, fold it open, bring the thing up, put the belt on, drop it back into place. Yeah, but see, back in the day, yeah, you could custom like my aunt. She would buy everybody's slacks that were uncuffed. And then either she would put cuffs on them, or she would put a straight leg on them. She never bought my cousin's slacks. They were always 9 miles long. She'd measure, then she'd ask you, you want cuffs on these or you want straight leg? Oh, the girl I went to prom with, she made her own prom dress. As a matter of fact, there were 3 but the couples that went. We all sat at the same table, and all the girls made their own dresses. That was the big thing. I remember they'd be talking in school. Oh, what kind of prom dress are you making? Oh, I'm going to make one Empire waist or something. Oh, I'm going to make this type. I'm going to make this type. And then they bring in their little swatches of material. Mine's going to be this color. Yeah, it was a big thing back in high school. I think every girl made her own prom dress. I remember they'd be talking about it in study hall. Or bring out a pattern and go, oh, it's going to look like this. But then over the years, nobody wanted to sew anymore. God, I remember the one girl I was dating in high school. I do, you want to go out Friday night? No, I got to finish my dress. Okay. Then she'd go, how about Saturday? All right. Every piece of clothing she had, she made herself. That girl was oh man, she was a sewer. There was not one piece of clothing in her closet that was bought, except for like socks and underwear. She'd make her own blouses. Now maybe she'd buy slips. But every piece of clothing, God, she had boxes of patterns. Jesus Christ. Oh, my cousin to this day, a matter of fact, she made me an Afghan for my bed. Because I told her, I said, you know, I'm always goddamn cold. She made me a gorgeous Afghan. I'll bring it and show it one day. Because I don't put it on the bed until winter. I got it folded up, put away. The one that lives up in Rhode Island. She sent it to me. Matter of fact, I didn't even know it was coming. I get this big box one day with a note. I made you an Afghan. Matter of fact, she crocheted me 3 or 4 kitty mats for my cat to sleep on. So what I ended up doing is I put him in a box because he likes sleeping in a box. But she crocheted, they look like placemats. Here, put these for your kitty to sleep on. I thought it was so cute. Yeah, she loves to crochet. Oh my God. When the church has they want to do a fundraiser, she'll crochet fucking goddamn pot holders up to the ceiling. She crochets and knits. But she crocheted me this Afghan. Holy Christ. I was amazed. I take extreme care of it, believe me. And it's warm. But it's a lost art. Hardly anybody knits, hardly anybody crochets, hardly anybody sews. I'll tell you what, the schools are really doing a disservice when they dropped home ec. But you know, all the schools did away with it at once. But I remember back in school, in high school, every girl sewed. Every girl sewed. Like I say, Sherry. Oh, good old Sherry. Every single piece of clothing that was in her closet, she made. Because her mother found a shop that made little monogram labels. Handmade by Sherry. Her mother got her a shitload of them, and she'd stitch them into her clothing. Her clothing had a little label. Handmade by Sherry. Yeah, like I say, the only thing she didn't, well, like slip, socks, underwear, that was everything else she made, except for like T-shirts and stuff like that. But that's a rarity today. God, it's a rarity finding a sewing machine. Maybe at a garage sale you'll see one, you know. Although, I mentioned this before, Christine, the girl I bought my Nissan truck from, she is the costume designer for the Cleveland Playhouse. You ought to see, oh my God. She's got, the one sewing machine she said was $10,000. Every room of her house has just got bolts and bolts and bolts of material. Yeah, the one sewing machine was like, she told me 10 grand. One was like six. But 90% of the costumes at the Cleveland Playhouse she makes. Because they're scheduled out a year in advance, so it gives her time to get shit together. But she does them at her house. Matter of fact, the only room that was a normal room was her bedroom. Every other room in the house was just bolts of material everywhere, cutting tables. Matter of fact, she told me where she bought these sewing machines from. It was somewhere around here. Of course, I don't pay that much attention to it, but you can't. All the sewing machine stores are gone. The typewriter stores are gone. I remember there was a big store downtown, Cleveland Typewriter, because the press and the plain dealer all bought their typewriters from this guy. Back in the day when the reporters had come back and type a story. Now it's all computer. Type on a computer, feed it into a, what the hell they call it, teleprompter. I remember back in the day watching the news. They'd be reading the news and put the sheet of paper down. Read the news, put the sheet of paper down. At the end of the news, the newscaster would be stacking the paper. Good night. Walter Cronkite, Chet Huntley, and David Brinkley. Good night, Chet. Good night, David. And good night from NBC News. I think they were on NBC. And now the news. And I'm Walter Cronkite. Those were the days. But I used to like Huntley Brinkley. Good night, Chet. Good night, David. They were like at other ends of the. I think one was in New York and one was in LA or something. The Huntley Brinkley Report. But everybody tuned into Walter Cronkite, one of the most trusted newscasters in America. Sitting there with his little microphone on the desk. Well, it was kind of a big microphone. Those were the days. Well, peoples, I think it's about that time. My stomach's starting to feel like my throat's been cut. We know where, right here, WDWL TV. And with that, everybody, thanks for being here. It was a fun show again, like usual. A lot of reminiscing of good times. And with that, we will meet again tomorrow night. See ya! Okay, take two. See ya! My clicker ain't working. Take